Pending wife is cleaning while I'm gonna go work on a car.
Are you talking to me?
No.
Alright, today we're going to be working on a 2002 Chevy Silverado. We had a random misfire on cylinder 1, and so we went about replacing the distributor cap and spark plug wires, but that didn't seem to do the trick. I had bought some cheap aftermarket ones, and today I'm going to go through and replace them with proper OEM ACDelco plugs with wires, and I'm going to replace the distributor cap with a OEM one too. So you get to watch me go through that process. It's the first warm day of the year, so we're trying to get out and get some stuff done on the truck and get it running smoothly. Right now it starts fine, but it runs extremely rough, and we get a multiple random cylinder misfire. So hopefully this will fix that. First step is to get the airbox off. It's just a couple of hose clamps. I got the mass airflow sensor stuck on it, so I had to work on getting that off a little bit. You want to be kind of careful, it's pretty delicate. So I basically just put the airbox back on, tighten the mass airflow sensor down, and then pulled the intake off. The first step is to get the old plug wires off. The only hard part is the distributor's buried in the way back near the firewall under one of the AC lines, so you kind of got to get your hand in there, try and pull them off. Try to get the plug wires off by hand, off this, but found them pretty tight, so I grabbed the long reach pliers. It was also extremely cold. The wind was really picking up, so I went and grabbed a coat. Normally I wouldn't be using pliers like this, but I was replacing the wires anyway, so I wasn't worried about damaging them. In a lot of cases, the worst part about this job is actually getting the little clips that hold the wires in place off. They can be really tough. Most of my time spent working on this engine is me kneeling on the radiator. I can't really find a better way to get far enough into the engine to work on it. So now I'm just taking the plug wires off at the distributor cap. You'll be able to see what it looks like in a second when I pull it out. I got these new wobble extensions. They let the head of the socket go in at an angle, and they make it way easier to get back there on the distributor cap. I also got some Torx bit sockets, and they just make this whole job so much easier. I got them at Harbor Freight, definitely recommend it. So there's the old distributor cap. I've got it off. I'm looking at it to see if it's charred. It doesn't look damaged at all, unfortunately, so I'm starting to lose faith in that being the problem. So I've got the new distributor cap there. Looks just like the old one. It's got two screws that hold it in place, so you can't really put it on wrong. You just got to make sure you don't have it flipped 180 degrees out of phase. I'm taking the old one off, and again, extensions make this a lot easier. As you can see, this whole job is just completely buried under the dash. On my other car, you can actually take part of that dash off. It's a lot easier to get access to this sort of thing, but I don't have a distributor in my new car. So now I'm going to put the new cap on. I've put some dielectric grease on it just to keep the water out. That's a common problem with these distributors, is you get a little tiny bit of water under there and then the truck won't start. You've got to go out there with a hairdryer and dry it out. We've done that a couple times. You got to be really careful with these screws. They seem like they're really easy to strip out. I think I might have stripped one out on the rotor. So I've got the plug wires, I've laid them out in the orientation that I think they go in. You gotta know how to count engine cylinders. It starts from the front right, and it goes 1, 3, 5 going back, and then on the other side, on the left, it's 2, 4, 6. It's pretty much the same pattern for a V8. The distributor cap itself has numbers on it and tells you which plug wire has to go to which cylinder. They're pretty much in the same orientation as the engine, except for cylinder 1, which is one further back than you'd expect on the distributor cap. But if you look at one, you'll see exactly what I mean. I put a little bit of dielectric grease on the plug wires too. It's cheap and it keeps the water out. When you install the plug wires, you'll feel a little bit of a pop as they go in, and that tells you that's firmly in place. One thing you want to be careful of is that the wires aren't laying on the engine. You don't want to burn through them, so it's best to try and reroute them through the original snaps. The firewall is made out of fiberglass, which is really annoying because you just get little glass shards in your hands unless you're wearing a good set of gloves. I don't have the dexterity with gloves on. So now I've got all the plug wires installed. I'm making sure the mass airflow sensor is nice and tight. If it's loose or crooked at all, you'll get an air leak through there, and that's air that's unmetered, and so you'll end up with some rough engine problems associated with a vacuum leak. Putting the intake hose back on, making sure it's nice and tight. Screws down with some hose clamps again. That's a Pittsburgh flat blade screwdriver, and they're actually really good, and only like $1.50. So I've bought several sets of them. Cleaning up all my tools to make sure that I don't have anything that could suck into the engine when I try and start it, and then I'm going to go run and grab the keys. And hopefully it fixed our rough idle problem. I dropped the distributor, or rotor, the old one in there, and I couldn't figure out where it went. So I was just doing one final inspection, and it turns out it just fallen underneath the truck, so I didn't worry about it. And give it a start. Still have a rough idle, so no good. So some other things that I might consider are the spider fuel injector. I don't know. The fuel trims are really positive, so it's getting too much air. Anyway, thanks for watching. We're gonna have some more interesting stuff coming this spring when we start laying out the house. We've got our build permit approved, so things are gonna start moving in a couple weeks. Make sure to like and subscribe.